So what sort of prerequisite knowledge do we need in this space, Mike?
It's really, really super important that we deal with security in IoT on scale, and that we take lessons out of the ways that we've deployed security solutions for other networks in the past, but then be cognizant of the fact that we're opening up a huge amount of, again, scale to the data, and that's extremely important.
It's quite a problem we've got to deal with, right?
It's huge.
Because you've now got thousands of new devices connecting that we've never seen previously.
Proliferating, absolutely. And so the problem is solvable. And I think in the past, what we've done, certainly around the Cisco technologies, securing the broad front of attack, it still works within IoT. It's just a matter of designing and implementing and being cognizant of these things before we deploy. So within our platforms, we've focused a lot on ensuring that not only is the data delivered with integrity, which is massively important, but the data at rest is secure, the data in transit is secure, and that all of the reporting algorithms and whatever else are secured fundamentally at an application layer and so forth. So the technologies we use to do that are broad-based. We use them within our normal corporate environments. And again, most of ours is underpinned by Cisco, which I think is a market leader in this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, things like Cisco ICE, right, which allow us to sort of split up the LAN. So you've got all these devices connected. Let's say, for example, a university campus, your smart clocks or thermometers or smart devices that the end user departments are bringing them in, and sometimes they're not getting these vetted by IT. IT is trying to keep up. They're starting to see these devices on their network and they don't even know they're there.
Yep.
So using some of the identity solutions that Cisco's got, one of them being ICE, allows us to segment that and make the data end up where it needs to be as opposed to everywhere. We're also, with the platform that we've developed, it allows an end user to take IoT and control it. For example, every single new smart device that you bring onto the network, it'll end up being seen in this platform. So you've got control, you can see what it's doing, where it's at, what it's talking to.
And that leads also to allowing IoT data to transit networks that are already built and utilize those networks in another way. So, again, we're trying to amortize the cost of delivering some of these services across infrastructure that already exists, and I think that's really important too. So the same controls, the same infrastructure and whatever else, the same set of investments can drive multiple use cases, and I think that really speaks well to the mass and scale that we need to deploy at. When Outcomex deploys IoT solutions, we tend to work with partners that we know and trust, and the reality of our organization is that it's underpinned by a lot of Cisco technologies.
And I think one of the bigger reasons for our Cisco choice is the fact that twofold. Firstly, we're installing devices out into extreme weather conditions. You're putting a sensor in a dam, it might take, or up on a hill or something, getting that sensor, replacing it is an issue. And especially if you've got 100 sensors in an environment, you don't want to be visiting them pretty often. So Cisco's been good in that sense, but more importantly, from a security standpoint, Cisco does the end-to-end security. So we're looking at the devices that we use, the Cisco devices that have got inbuilt security and VPN security keys and so on, but it's the end-to-end security, right? Because we're putting these solutions into enterprise spaces, hospitals, smart councils and stuff like that, and they've already got existing networks, right? We're just adding another network, we're adding an IoT network to it, but we want to use the end-to-end benefits associated with that.
So if we think about the concepts of manageability and obviously cost and all those things that sort of resonate in a large corporate network rollout, if we can leverage an existing investment and use best practice and just scale it slightly out further whilst utilizing the investment in network and whatever else, it gets really interesting for a customer, right? It creates the right outcomes in terms of the commercial side of things and allows them to get really flexible about the kinds of services they add without adding huge amounts of cost or complexity. So next up, we're going to talk about wireless networks and how they're applicable within an IoT environment.